Welcome back, everybody, to another cryptocurrency news article. This one comes from Bitcoin Magazine. And after the failure of their stablecoin experiment, Iran and Russia will inevitably adopt Bitcoin. With their newly announced stablecoin experiment doomed to fail, Russia and Iran will soon learn Bitcoin is the solution that they want. So, this is an opinion editorial by Q Grummy, a stocks and Bitcoin analysis and author of the Q Weekly Update newsletter. So, let's hear about this opinion. Do you think the stablecoin will succeed and they'll be using that? Or do you think still Bitcoin is the solution that they want? Well, here we go. Earlier this month, reports surfaced that the Central Bank of Iran is working with the Russian Association of the Crypto Industry and blockchain to create a stablecoin that will be backed by gold to settle trade. This is not the first foray into the crypto universe for either country, nor will it be the last. But this venture will come to nothing, ultimately bringing both countries one step closer to adopting Bitcoin. Now, Iran's foray into cryptocurrencies favor Bitcoin. In August of 2022, a headline came and went, and most did not hear about it, and those who did gave little thought. Iran approves use of cryptocurrency for imports to bust sanctions. I think I did cover that article. But ignoring the fact that the source for this headline was Saudi funded media outlet with the likely goal of destabilizing and delegitimatizing Iran, it is important to recognize that Iran successfully completed a trade in August with an estimated value of $10 million, which can be assumed to have been conducted in Bitcoin. Now, based on daily volume, there are about 20 possible cryptocurrencies that could have been used to complete this transaction. However, if we take these cryptocurrencies by daily volume and agree that none with a daily volume less than $1 billion could have possibly been used, anything greater than 1% of daily volume would move the price too significantly. So 1% of 1 billion is $10 million. We are left with 7 possible cryptocurrencies: Ripple, Solana, USDC, Ethereum, Binance, Tether, and Bitcoin. Now we can quickly eliminate USDC, Solana, and Ripple because they are all run by US corporations, and due to sanction laws like Tornado Cash, they would be forced to prevent Iran from using their platform. Also, it is safe to assume that the Iranian government chose to avoid US companies for simplicity's sake. Tether can also be thrown out given its link to the US dollar. I will also throw out Ethereum because Iranians are too cheap to pay those gas fees. Now, this leaves us with 2 options: BNB and Bitcoin. Personal bias aside, no one is settling international trade with BNB without Binance CEO Changpeng Zhao taking some sort of victory lap, but Bitcoin wins. Iran also previously banned Bitcoin mining operations due to the stress on the Tehran's power grid. It has since returned all of the miner equipment and, as noted above, made the claim that $10 million in international trade was completed using cryptocurrencies. Suffice to say, Iran has begun to see the potential of Bitcoin. Now, Russia's foray into cryptocurrencies demonstrate a need for unsanctioned exchanges. Now, Russia has also begun to dip its toes in the broader cryptocurrency space after the US government responded to the invasion of the Ukraine with sanctions. Russia was forced to explore alternatives to completely international trade. President Vladimir Putin's response was to forego the over $500 billion in its reserves and mandate that every buyer of Russia's natural gas pay in the Russian ruble. The ruble responded very positively to this news. You can see the chart below with a red arrow pointing to when the US sanctions began and the green arrow pointing to when the ruble became the only payment for Russian natural gas. Here's that chart. So yeah, this is where it began. We had that dip, but then ever since then, boom. So yeah, it was a short-lived dip. Russia responded quite well with that. Russia then slowly began to reverse its 2020 position on cryptocurrencies. Late last year, Russia announced that it will allow international settlements in cryptocurrencies without any restrictions, a huge reversal from its previous stance. These moves prove that Russia sees the potential for cryptocurrencies as a medium of exchange. Now, sanctions make the bond stronger. Both countries have been on the receiving end of the US/Western sanctions, but have found ways to navigate around them to remain in power. The lesson that both of these countries have learned is to trust no one, especially in the world of finance. Putin profusely announced that by freezing the Russia's dollar holdings, it practically defaulted, signaling the event that the mighty dollar may not be as mighty as the US wants you to believe. Iran is also no stranger to the empty promises of the West. After negotiating and agreeing to a nuclear deal in 2015, President Donald Trump came in and tore up the old agreement. While this may become or may be common practice in some shady business ventures, this is an insult in Persian culture. Every indication that a new nuclear deal will be signed by Iran was laughable. Now, why would Iran assume the next deal would be upheld after the president left office? Needless to say, the Iranian government has very little trust of foreign governments. So, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Plus, keep your friends close, but your enemies closer equals Iran/Russian relations. Now, in 2023, it almost makes sense to Westerners that Russia and Iran would work together. Both countries are deemed villains by many Western countries, and strict sanctions prevent them both from selling their resources to the world. Both have stockpiles of oil and gas that the world desperately needs, and yet their history is far from harmonious. Now, until the 1920s, both of the UK and Russia fought over control of the resources of Iran. The Qajar dynasty would bend the knee and give anything foreign powers requested in exchange for wealth and riches for its family. This all changed after the 1921 coup brought an end to the Qajar dynasty and brought power to Reza Shah. Now, Reza Shah refused to give concessions to foreign powers and focused on growing Iran. The Soviet Union came to be 1 year later, which caused the USSR to focus on domestic growth as well. As Iran began to grow in importance to the West, chiefly to the UK and the US, Reza Shah and his son, the last Shah of Iran, Mohammad Reza Shah, would use the West's fear of communism to their advantage. If Iran would not get what it wanted from its Western trade partners, it would go make a small deal with the USSR to remind them who was in charge. Now, despite the once contentious history between these two nations, it seems like they have found a common ground perception as an enemy of the West. Now, why this new stablecoin will fail? So, yeah, the stablecoin backed by gold. I made a lofty claim that the stablecoin experiment between Iran and Russia will fail and cause them to adopt Bitcoin. Now, how will it fail? There is no trust. There never was, and there never will be. Trust can be eroded while the network is being formed. While many Russians and Iranian leaders may believe that their country's top engineers can craft a product that is able to circumvent any adversarial attacks, what is to stop the other country from giving themselves backdoor access? What is stopping someone from creating a way to double spend tokens? Now, this is all a conjecture. I am presenting just a handful of potential flaws in this system. Now, how many more can you think of? So again, these are just presentations of a handful of potential flaws that could happen. Doesn't mean they are going to happen, but yeah. The largest question is regarding the gold reserves backing the stablecoin. Now, where will the gold be stored? And who will verify that the amount of gold listed is there? Given the lack of trust, neither country can be expected to blindly accept that the other is holding the amount of gold it claims to be. See the Bitcoin Standard for more on this topic. And sanctions prevent a reputable third party from getting involved, although China could fit into the puzzle in some way here. But as this very large and very important hurdle is met, another question will continue to loom. Why? Why do we need to do anything of this when there is a cryptocurrency out there with enough liquidity to suffice their needs and that requires no trust in either party? Both Iran and Russia have banned residents from using Bitcoin, but they have also reversed some of their positions over time. It is safe to say that both governments are still in the process of understanding the power and scope of what cryptocurrencies have to offer. It is also worth noting that this joint effort but be successful, it will not be for the first gold-backed cryptocurrency. So in conclusion, both countries are still in the information gathering stage. And if by some miracle a researcher stumbles across this article, let me spell it out plain and simple. History has proven that when given the opportunity to control money, the people in charge will manipulate the money for their benefit. There is a reason the Roman Empire fell off and that we don't use guilders or pounds as global currencies. Instead of bringing this temptation into the equation, adopting a trustless form of money that cannot be manipulated or inflated is the only solution. Bitcoin is the inevitable money you are looking for. Whether you get there before your enemies is up to you. So That is a good question. Do you want to use it? Like, again, like El Salvador is going to benefit the most since they've adopted it and made it legal tender in 2021. That they got in first. So again, like, who's going to benefit first? When are you going to do it? But yeah, I think actually, yeah, it is inevitable for the adoption of Bitcoin because it brings up some true points in this article. It's like, don't trust anyone. These countries, yeah, they slacked away, but it's like they're enemies, but whatnot. But again, they are involved in the U.S. sanctions situation where they're on the latter end of it all, and it just hasn't worked out. So Bitcoin is a good solution. It's trustless, it's decentralized, so no country can use it for their benefit at all. It's just all run on code, and that's the beauty of it. So yeah, I do enjoy this article. I hope you guys did too, and if so, hit that thumbs up for me, subscribe to the channel, and until next time, the Crypto Sherpa is out.